Hello, YouTube. Okay, uh, hair is a little bit. I need to definitely check myself in the mirror before coming on live, but that's okay. Um, so what I want to talk about today is little human design. I am a 2-4 self-projected projector, and I'm in year 3 of my human design experiment. And this is where I'm constantly learning and relearning, deconditioning, unlearning everything and anything in terms of what it is like to live my life based on my human design, to how to run my business on my human design. And today I want to actually focus a little bit on the business perspective, because this is what's currently happening and this is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to share. And so I've been shifting certain aspects of my business based on my human design, and going from my strategy and authority to pay attention to that strategy and authority, which is basically like strategy, waiting for the invitation as a projector, how I've recognized invitations, how I'm using that, the authority, how am I using myself projected in my business. And then lastly, I do want to talk about my environments, and then we'll see, maybe I'll tap into my profile, which is 2-4. My environment is internal markets. And so let's talk about strategy. So waiting for the invitation as a projector, the way I've navigate this in my business, in terms of creating content. So a lot of times we think of invitations is formal, right? Oh, we create a program based on somebody saying you should make a program about this. But invitations don't always look like that. Sometimes they do, which is great. Great if you have somebody that slides into your DMs and they're like, oh, that thing you shared was amazing. Like, you should create something with it, or you should go do XYZ with it, or you should start a YouTube channel. You should, whatever suggestions people make, those can be invitations. And then you use your authority to decide whether or not that is in alignment with you. But sometimes invitations don't necessarily come in that clear-cut way. Sometimes it's just people asking questions. So as a projector, we are here to guide, and people, when they ask us questions, that is the invitation in itself. And so what I started to do in terms of content and things I share about, I started thinking, what are the most recent conversations I've had with people? What are some of the questions that people have asked me, online and offline? Like, what are some of the conversations I'm having on a day-to-day around, anything like business related, mindset, inner child healing? What are these conversations that I'm having? And also, like, what am I saying? And so I started making note of that, and then actually using that to make content, to create content, and to share that with you. And a lot of times I feel like we tend to forget that the questions that people ask us, because it is so much in the conversation, especially if you are just chatting with your friend, right? You're not in the mindset of business, right? You're out with your friend, you're having a couple of beers, you're not in the space of oh, what conversations am I going to have to create content? You're not in that mindset. So it is easy to forget. It is easy to not think about it. But now I'm starting to think about it. And it's not so much before, it's more after the fact. It's more after a few days, oh, okay, what are some of the more recent conversations I had? And is there anything in there that I can share with my audience? Is there anything in there that it's relatable to my business? And I know this is an example, I've just had a few conversations based on human design and using this in my business. So this is why I'm coming on here and sharing this with you, because it's a conversation I just recently had. So that is an invitation in itself. So if you are a projector and you are running your own business, looking at ways to create content, or looking at ways to maybe create a program, or any of that aspect, this is where to pay attention to what questions are people asking you. where are you giving guidance, and what does that guidance look like? Because as projectors, we give guidance like I'm gonna say like 99% of the time, even to our friends, like, and they're not paying us. It is just like sometimes it comes naturally, and it may not necessarily having to look at from the perspective of what we do in our business, right? Sometimes I could just be like somebody asking us a very simple question, and then we just guide them, like how to cook. If we're not, if our business is about coaching, and then we're just guiding someone how to cook. We're always guiding. It's who we are. So that is another way that you can like look at invitations. I know I do have some other videos that I talk about invitations on my YouTube. So if you go to like the human design section, you'll find that through there. And what else? Okay, so that was like strategy, authority. So my authority is self-projected, which is like, I would say, one of the more rare authorities. And so how have I been using this in my business? Well, one, this is why I'm here on YouTube. I've realized that places such as TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, those are areas where I need to shorten what I have to say to get to a point, because that is a content that is provided for, right? Like TikTok, you have 90 seconds. That was the last time I checked. I don't know if that's it. Twitter, you have a certain number of characters. Instagram, it's posts, but then you don't want to make it too long, because Instagram, everybody kind of goes through things really quickly. So you do want it to be short to the point. And as somebody who's self-projected with a defined throat, obviously my throat's defined because I'm self-projected, it doesn't give me the space to fully share what I want to share. I always find like whenever I write posts, like I have to go and edit it back and forth and like take out certain things to make it short. But then sometimes I feel like there are certain things that need to be said, but then the post gets too long, and then people don't read it all, people don't watch it all. And so as self-projected, finding platforms and spaces that I can just talk and not have a limit. And it doesn't mean it needs to be an hour. Like right now, the past two videos happen in approximately 20 minutes. And, obviously people have the choice of like staying on, but but YouTube being a space of like, when you come on YouTube, you have the expectation that you might be watching something for a little bit longer than a minute. That is like basically what YouTube has been built for, but the same thing as podcasts. So I am also thinking of repurposing my YouTube content, possibly on Spotify, maybe eventually converting it to audio and putting it on a podcast and having it on Apple Podcasts. Like those are some of my ideas coming through. I'm just trying to find ways of how I can diversify my content and putting it on more than one platform. And then this is kind of going back to my markets. So my environment is internal market. So one market is like not meant to focus on one platform. It's a multiple, right? It's like sampling a bunch of different ones. So it's how can I take what I am sharing on here, repurpose it on other platforms, and maybe have Instagram as a place where I say, here is what I'm talking about on YouTube, like go on the link if you want to watch it. And so finding all those ways to do it in a way that's effortless and easy. And also internal markets is basically internal, right? It's like in the comfort of my own home, and I'm basically inviting you in to my space. So this is like, so it is a matter of finding the right platform that works within an alignment. And for the longest time, I was on Instagram trying to build something on Instagram because it was a platform I knew really well. It was a platform for the longest time that I had fun with because I love taking photos and I love creating it. But I was building it for the past like basically 2.5, 3 years, creating the foundations of my business, trying a bunch of different things from like I did 365 days live. I've done reels. I tried to do 365 reels, but stopped after day 50. I created posts. I created carousels. I created posts with the caption. I went on stories, created stuff on stories, shared thoughts on stories, engaged with my audience through polls, through tarot readings, like free tarot readings on stories, all of that. I've been doing all of that. And the conversion on Instagram was minuscule. When I mean minuscule, like maybe 1 or 2. It wasn't a big conversion. And the realization recently, having an undefined spleen, which is staying, which the not self is staying in things that are not good for me, like that, kind of staying in things longer than I should because of comfort and because of fears, right? So a recent coach asked me, she was like, what does Instagram bring you for your business? And I'm like, couldn't answer that. And so, yeah, realizing the not self theme of the undefined spleen coming in really strong. And so now I'm at that place where it's like, okay, I need to diversify. I need to put out my content in different platforms and seeing what happens and seeing where there is a pool. Like maybe it is YouTube. Maybe it is here that, this is where I'll grow exponentially, or maybe it's Spotify, or maybe it is a podcast through Apple. I don't know. But I am in year 3 of my human design experiment. So I am at the place where it's all out of trial and error. And so we'll see what happens. And then the other thing that I'm playing around with my human design. So I am right mind, right brain with a defined head in Ajna, which means like there's a lot of freaking information up here. Like I do crossword puzzles for fun because I'm surprised every time I know the answer to something that I didn't realize I knew. so, but the thing is that I do need something to pull out the information that's in there. So this is kind of going back to like paying attention to the invitations and the conversations I'm having, because there's so much information up here, because there's so much stuff, lots of stuff that I need people to see my gifts and pull the information out of me. So again, sharing, like my content that I share is I'm paying attention to conversations I'm having and making note of that so that I have content to share. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on some guest speakers on here to have a conversation so that I have somebody like that. We can have a powerful conversation and see someone else's perspective. So show you guys like, what other people are out there doing, whatever they're doing, and like, what are their perceptions on things that we both like what are their perceptions of human design. I know there is, I have like two generators who reached out to me and they want to have a conversation about human design on here. And so this is going to be different because I'm a projector, but there's two generators and you get to kind of see like two generators who are experimenting their design in a different way and what their experiment is like. I know there'll be a manifester. There's a Manny Jen who also said was interested. I don't know if those conversations will be brought up by human design, but you get to see people's different energies and people's different experiment. And so that is kind of like how I'm utilizing human design for my business. And then also kind of looking in my sun, where my gate is in my sun, which is in gate 1. So my sun is gate 1.2, which is in profile line 2 hermit. And so looking at my sun and what I meant, what I'm here for. And I am here to hold the darkness with you. I am here, but I also am here to show you the light. And so to really amplify that, because that is something I do almost subconsciously and naturally with my clients, with friends. And I never thought to bring that on the forefront. So that is something also that I will be talking about, considering that the work I do as a coach is the inner child healing, the shadow work piece. And that is like basically literally the foundation of my business. Like you can come to me with anything, but it'll always go back to that because that's where the root is. That's where all the root is. That is where everything is. And then it all ripples out and it's crazy. It's kind of awesome to watch that unfold. So this is how I'm like, so those are different ways of utilizing human design in my business. Um, there's also the profile 2-4 that I also utilize it, and this is where I honor the ebb and flow with my line 2 and my line 4. So my line 2 is the hermit, the line 4 is the opportunist, and so there are times where I won't show up online in my business. Like though it might be a few days at a time that I'm more hermit, but that's because I'm like I'm going inwards and I'm reflecting and I'm processing. And then I'll come out in the opportunist. Right now, I feel like I'm more the opportunist the past few days because I'm recording videos and I'm coming on here and sharing a lot of things with you. But then also sometimes my 2-4 can be like, I can be a line 2 hermit in my business, but I might be a 4 opportunist with my friends, or it might be opposite. I might be a line 2 with my friends and not wanting to socialize with people and really be hermit in my own space. And I might be a line 4 in my business, but it is honoring the 2-4 flow of however it looks like. And sometimes it's weird, it comes on simultaneously, which is like really weird. Like I'll be home and I'm like, I don't want to see a soul, but I want people around me. It's like the weirdest thing. It's like simultaneously. So if you are 2-4, let me know how I found that resonates in that lens. But it is honoring the ebb and flow of that and not beating myself up when I don't show up online and I'm more my hermit, or when I don't hang out with my friends in that aspect, or when there's times where I'm coming on too much, but that's because I'm in my line 4 and to honor that space. So this is where that like 2-4 kind of comes into play. And just playing around with that. And so, yeah. So these are like different ways that I'm utilizing being a projector with like some of my defined centers, my strategy, my authority, my profile, my variables in my business. And I'm doing it all in step by steps. Like this is, again, I'm in year 3 of my experiment. There's been so much I've been learning from the past few years. And I've even shared, there's more videos if you'd like to watch. But this is what I'm constantly doing as I'm living out my human design and deconditioning, recognizing, going inward, etc., etc. So this video, if you love this video, feel free to like, share, comment. I appreciate it all. And I do offer human design readings. So if that is something you are interested to get your chart read, I do offer that. And so you could just like book below. I have it in the description part. And then there's also my website there if you would like to just go check out some other things. And if you like my content, subscribe. I would love to have some more subscribers, more people, just, be fun. So subscribe if this resonated with you. And I think that's what I'm going to kind of be doing moving forward, is more going on live and just chatting and then letting that get uploaded. It's the easiest way for me than just recording it on my phone or on my laptop and then uploading. I don't know. I just prefer the live stream. It's kind of cool. And also you get to see me like be human, and it's unedited right now because I couldn't be bothered editing videos. Actually, it's something that does not bring me joy. And at the moment, to hire out for someone to edit my videos is not a priority. So, yeah, that is basically where I'm at. So, yes, this is it. It's here, another 20 minutes. I think this is going to be the kind of like how much Julie talks. 20 minutes and then she's done. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.